appear before a Georgia Senate committee without a subpoena?
Well, first of all, I don't even think they have the authority to subpoena me, but they need to learn the law.
So will you appear, yes or no?
I will not appear to anything that is unlawful. And I have not broken the law in any way. I've said it, you know, I'll say it amongst these leaders. I'm sorry folks get pissed off that everybody gets treated evenly.
All right. I think she answered that very well.
2 days later.
Some breaking news. A Georgia appeals court has now agreed to take up the Trump team's appeal of the Fani Willis disqualification ruling. Now, a lower court had already ruled that Willis can remain on that case. So what happens there now?
So the Trump team wants to appeal the decision. They would like Fani Willis kicked off the case entirely. The judge has ruled that Fani Willis could stay as long as her former paramour, Nathan Wade, was removed from the case to avoid even the appearance of any kind of a conflict. So he's off the case. Fani Willis is on. The appellate court has agreed to take up the matter. They haven't, agreed to any decision, but they've at least agreed to take it up, which is yet one more delay for a case that still does not have a date to start trial.
So, Con, what does this do, these delays do, given we're 6 months away from the election now?
I think, Diane, that's a great question. And ultimately what it does is it guarantees that the only case that's going to trial out of these three criminal cases, the documents case, the Fani Willis case, January 6th case, is ultimately the case that's now before the judge and jury in New York.
Yes, Trump secured another win bid to slow criminal persecutions. According to this article recently put out by Riostad, I believe you've seen the videos at the beginning. I'm going to show you some other clips. When you go down on this article, Donald Trump notched another win in his campaign to slow the criminal cases against him on Wednesday when a Georgia appeal court agreed to hear his bid to disqualify the district attorney persecuting him for trying to overturn his election laws in the state. Yes, if you have been following this keenly, you realize all these cases are falling. No single person is succeeding. We saw the one with Jack Smith, bombshell report came out, a lot were discovered. Now, a similar thing. It is to clearly send a message to these people. You cannot bring a person down through all this method. Win Trump on the polls. That is the only thing. Not through this. If they don't see this coming, like this is a bad signal to Democrat, it is high time they realize it. If you have not subscribed to this channel, please endeavor to do that. It will do you no harm if you share this video out.
Let's get right to the breaking news out of Georgia and Donald Trump's election interference case there. An appeals court has just announced it will review the judge's ruling to let prosecutor Fani Willis stay on this case. Trump and his co-defendants want to remove her from the case because of her personal relationship with a former top prosecutor. And joining us now, former U.S. attorney and MSNBC legal analyst Joyce Vance. Joyce, this is the appeals court now reviewing the judge's decision to let Willis stay on the case. What does this really mean? What's the process going to be now?
Right. So this is what's called an interlocutory appeal on an appeal that takes place before trial. And the Court of Appeals wasn't obligated to hear this appeal. The decision this morning is that they will, in fact, take the case. It's taken them weeks to make the decision simply to hear the case. That means we're more likely in for months before they decide whether the trial judge got it right when he said Fani Willis could stay on the case. If that decision happens months out, whichever party loses is likely to take an appeal to Georgia's Supreme Court, and that effectively means that this trial will not take place before the election.
Joyce, Nathan Wade, the person who was a special prosecutor she had brought on, who she had this relationship with, he just gave an interview to ABC News over the weekend, and I want to play part of what he said.
Workplace romances are as American as apple pie. It happens to everyone.
Do you think that you've done any kind of damage to this case?
None at all.
Even the public perception of it
there again, this takes me back to the initial statement that I made. My private life became the focal point of the case. And my private life has nothing to do with the merits of that prosecution.
Joyce, will the appeals court agree?
Well, look, Mr. Wade is entitled to his opinion, but prosecutors are held to and have to hold themselves to a higher standard of conduct. The decision here, may well be that there is some problem, but the trial judge saw fit to cure any issues by saying that Willis could stay on the case as long as Wade didn't. That was a good split the baby solution, and it wouldn't be unexpected if the Court of Appeals affirms the trial judge here.
And just the fact that the appeals court decided to take this, didn't just swat it away, what does that tell you about where this could be headed?
Yeah, I don't read anything substantive into this decision. I think this case is high profile. It's political. Georgia has elected state appellate courts. It's not surprising that they would feel obligated to hear this case.
Yes, what is more funny is the fact that he is still standing here during this interview trying to say what he did does not have any influence to this case. Even public perceptions, everyone knows it has. There is nothing you can convince me that this was right. I won't accept it. Even a small child, if you table this, they know what is going on. It is high time they realize that what the fair games they were playing around, it has backfired. Yes, the practical significance is we are not going to have a trial in Georgia prior to the election, said Amy Lee, a former federal prosecutor in the state. The decision came a day after a federal judge in Florida nominated to the bench by Trump indefinitely postponed the start of his trial on charges of mishandling classified documents after leaving the White House. This is the case with Jack Smith. We saw what happened. Trump is just winning. Democrats thought they would bring 1,000 cases before the elections, and it should hinder Trump, from even going up in the polls. But it is not working out if they should realize by now. Look at what is going on with this Stormy Daniels. It is not working. Look at the testimony. Instead, Trump is gaining more grounds with these trials. It is high time they see it. I understand they will still not see it. They try one. If this does not work, they will bring this. It is reaching fast that the election will approach with any of these coming to light. If Trump wins, everything goes away. So you can understand exactly what is going on here, and I pray that people should see it. They should see the political persecutions of this man.
She entered wearing all black, as if on her way to a funeral. The loose-fitting, plain black clothing draping from her shoulders to her toes suggested the modesty of a nun. The makeup was minimal, the way she and the other moms in her neighborhood might look when shopping at the local grocery store. The long blonde hair held up with a clip at the back of her head, the way it might be in a utilitarian way while she was doing dishes or checking one of the horseshoes on her horse she later spoke of so proudly. When she walked by him, her face had the same expressionless, somber look